go ahead and get started here. Alrighty. Looks like we got 2 people waiting. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for waiting. Just waiting for that audio to come through. You probably already hear it. So once I have it come through, we'll go ahead and get started right away here, guys. Alrighty. Perfect. Okay, guys, welcome back to another live stream. Today we're going to be doing some geometry nodes related stuff, but I want to give a quick shout out to the creator of this model. That is Kent Trammell from CG Cookie. Absolutely fantastic model here. I just want to kind of go over this real quick because it really is just gorgeous. Just do this so you can see it a little bit better. First of all, modeling wise, I mean, this is incredible, right? We have some insane detail. Texture wise, this is all procedural. I'm just like beyond impressed with like what he was able to achieve here. Now this was for a separate project that we were originally going to work on, but I just thought this came out so good. I'm gonna just slap a different HDRI on here, and then I'll kind of talk about like what we're gonna do. Cool. Again, just like you zoom in here, like the level of detail that you're getting out of this is just, it's just so good. I'm just so like thoroughly impressed. This is like top of the line modeling. Look at that texture on the bottom of the shoe. I mean, incredible work by Kent. Again, we talk a lot about how amazing our instructors are at CG Cookie and just like the level of knowledge that they have. This is just like proof right here. This stuff is not easy to model, and it's not only not easy to model, but it's not easy to texture either. And like I can zoom in on any part here and it's going to look really good, especially with this lighting. This is all procedural. How he did this procedurally, I don't know. I'd have to take a look at the nodes, but there's just so much to learn just from this shoe. But we're going to be taking this shoe, and I want to kind of warp things around this shoe to kind of almost make us like a short little like ad for the shoe itself. So quick shout out to Kent real quick. Just absolutely incredible. So let me just really quickly show you guys CG Cookie core here. Here we go. So this is the core fundamentals of Blender. Again, like you're getting a lot of incredible things here. I just wanted to quickly shout this out, and then we'll talk about the cyber deal later. But look at some of the incredible instructors you have here, right? Modeling with Jonathan, and then Kent, although he's also a great modeler, did digital sculpting in this case. But again, like he modeled this shoe, just absolutely incredible. You're getting lighting with Jesse Kaizan. Iwa has materials and shading and texturing. And then, of course, Phil with animation. Wayne with rigging, and yours truly with physics. That is kind of like my personal specialty, so that's what I teach. And then compositing with Sean Kennedy. And the great part about this, guys, is that this will all be on sale today at some point. So stay tuned for that, all right? All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and have you guys drop a comment, say hello, and we're going to get started with geometry nodes here, all right? And then I'll go ahead and shout out all of our deals after that, all right? All right, here we go. And I also want to go ahead and drop this right here in the comments. Perfect. Okay. All right. And that is cgcookie.com/core. Perfect. /p/core. All right. So what I want to do is I want to have objects around this, sort of like almost like a plexus style animation. So I'm going to hop over to geometry nodes. We'll probably just keep this in solid view for right now. And I'm going to kind of show you how we can create like a really fun like grid. I'm going to actually highlight all of this. I'm going to get rid of these lights. I'm going to highlight all this and move it to a new collection. I'll just call it shoe, just so we can hide and show it as we need to. So for right now, I'm going to hide it. I'm going to go ahead into our regular collection. I'm going to add a cube. It really doesn't matter what you add. Now, with the new geometry node setup, I'm going to name this like plexus, or really anything that I want to. I'm going to go ahead and start with a grid. I have an idea for what I want to do here. So remember, with a grid, guys, we go into wireframe view. A grid is quite literally a plane that's just like subdivided. That's really all it is. I'm going to give this like 50 on both, like 50 vertices, 50 on the Y and the X. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to instance onto these points, and then I want to warp our plane. So let me just show you what I'll do first. So first thing we'll do is we'll do mesh to points. Okay, and you're going to get something like that. We're going to have a point where every single vertice was. It's exactly what we want. And next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do an instance on points, right? Okay, and in this case, I'll just instance whatever I want. I'll just do a UV sphere. Okay, we can always change this later. It really doesn't matter. Okay, now we have a UV sphere. And then what I'll do here for segments is I'll do 10 and 10. And we're still in wireframe mode, so it's going to look a little weird. We'll go to solid mode. And you'll see that the spheres are quite large. We're going to go ahead and knock those down to 0.1. In fact, we'll do 0.01 for now. Perfect. So now we have a sphere on every single part here. I'm also going to shade this smooth. Okay. And just make sure you save as you go. Sometimes this can bog down your computer a little bit. Now, really what we want to do is we want to warp this thing however we see fit, right? And in order to do that, we're simply going to go here and we're going to add a set position node. Okay. And we're going to set the position of our grid before we instance all of our points on top of that grid. Okay. I'm following your class now, Kenny. I'm struggling with the fireworks. I'm so sorry to hear that. Do me a favor and message me on Instagram. And I promise if you have an Instagram, or you can email me, I'll get you my email somehow. I'm not going to post it in the chat because then bots will be after it. But what I will tell you is I will definitely help you. So I'm sorry that you're struggling with that. I promise I will help you out, okay? All right, noise texture. Yeah, particle physics can be a little tricky. So noise texture, I'm going to plug in the factor to the offset. You're going to notice everything kind of goes all over the place. Now, this is sort of what we're looking for, but we only want to affect the Z. So I'm going to do combine XYZ here. We're going to switch that to Z. And now we're only affecting the Z. Look what happens if we do X or Y. We want Z, which is up and down, right? And now we can adjust things like the scale, right? Which is really cool. I mean, this in itself is really cool. So you can see now I can adjust the scale. And now what we're doing is we're basically taking, let me just do this real quick. View, oh, sometimes you have to do this frame selected, and then it doesn't get all weird on you when you try to rotate around your object. But now what we can do is we can actually take all these aspects here, and we can sort of like animate them. So I could do 4-dimensional on noise texture, and I can animate the W, right? So let me just scale this back a little bit. So if we animate the W, I'll go ahead and give this a multiplier. Just do a quick math node. I'll do multiply by a really, really small fraction. We'll do like 0.02. If we click this in here and we start to mess around with this, notice how we can kind of get this like wavy pattern here. This just allows us to go a little bit slower, right? So now when I drag my mouse over this value, we can actually animate this. Check this out. I'll go ahead and pull up the timeline over here. Actually, it doesn't even really you don't even really need to pull up the timeline. If you plug in the frame value, which is the scene frame, you can plug this into your value right here, and you can just press play, and now you have this animated like textured surface, right? And then all you have to do is just play around with the different settings, right? Like that's pretty interesting. And then you can also adjust in real time. You can adjust the size of this thing, right? Like you could be like, you know what? No, I want this to be 2 by 2. And then as this is playing, we can still adjust it, right? Because there's really not a lot going on here. All that's happening is we're just animating this. If you want it to be slower, which I do in this case, I want it to be 0.005. So like a little bit slower, because I'm looking for something a little bit slower. Now, while this is animating, I'm actually going to just add a scale instances node here. Where's the scale instances? And we're going to scale them randomly. Let's go ahead and scale them with a random value. All right. In this case, I think, let's see, what could we do here? Hello there. Hi, how you doing? Rayman Pixar. Good to see you. So I'm going to scale this with a random value. I think in this case, I'll probably just plug this into the scale. And now we already have these like random values. So this is already looking really interesting, right? We kind of have this like field of spheres that is moving up and down. And we've done this very quickly. And again, if we want to adjust our speed, really this is the speed right here, right? And if you really want to go into it and start naming things custom values, instead of naming this value, I can go here and I can right click, rename. I can say speed, right? Copy this value real quick, plug it in here. Now we know that this is the speed at which our animation goes, right? So we can come back in here. If someone else wants to customize this, they can now customize this to their liking. Now, obviously, we can still mess around with things like distortion, right? We can mess around with the scale. Maybe we want it to be really slow like this, right? So now that's just me messing around with the scale. Again, we have the roughness, the distortion. Like this looks pretty cool. Maybe I'll do a distortion of 2. This already looks so interesting to me. I want to mess around with the values a little bit. This is cool too. Again, I feel like it looks cool regardless. And if you want to get even more into it, right now these are just spheres, right? You can kind of see from the side what's like happening here. These are just spheres. You can have as many of these as you want. You can even draw from a collection and have a sphere, a cube, and then a, I don't know, like a torus, really whatever you want, right? So I'll show you how to do that real quick because that's actually really cool too. So right here, you said it says instance and there's pick instance. For that instance, we can do like a collection. So if I just make a new collection real quick, let me add a, let me go into this collection. I'll just add a cube. Okay, I'll just make this into a new collection. I'll call this pick instances. You can name whatever you want. I don't want to confuse you guys, but I'll go ahead and add a sphere in here, just a UV sphere, right? And then I'll just add a torus. Scale that down. Now, we have these 3 objects in our collection. Now, if I go back here, if I want to target those as my instances instead, I can sever this tie here. I can go to collection info. I'll click on the pick instances collection, plug that in here, click on pick instance. All right, and then it is working, but it's getting a little weird with the scaling. Why is it getting weird with scaling? Shouldn't be. Hold on a second. It might just be the scaling. Let me see something. There we go. All right, same concept, but in this case, I don't love this, right? I kind of liked what we had before, but I was trying to show you guys that it is possible. There we go. So here's a better example. So like right here, let's say you wanted all these to do something like that. You could. If I was really going to do this, I'd probably also do rotate instances. Grab another random value node and plug that into the rotation with like, I don't know, 5,000. It can be anywhere in that range. And now you have all of these shapes jumping up and down, right? At like random moments here, right? It's pretty cool. Just see something. Yeah, so that's how you would do that. This looks a little wild, but at the same time, I could kind of see this being used for like, I don't know. It's definitely useful for something. I don't know. Is it not picking the instances? Why is it not picking the instances? Should be. Oh, is it working now? Oh. Alright, that was weird. I wasn't working at first. It's being a little funky, but you get the concept. Anyway, I'm going to plug our sphere back in because I do not like what was happening there. And I don't need to rotate these, and it doesn't need to be pick instance. And why is it broken? Oh, because they're so small. There we go. Perfect. Okay. All right, so we have our spheres back. I just wanted to show you how you could potentially plug in like a collection, but this is looking really cool. So let's show our shoe here again. All right, let's go ahead and delete this stuff. Why is this rotating? That was weird. Did you guys see that? Oh, it's keyframed. I'm not sure why it's keyframed. I'm gonna delete the keyframe. Maybe Kent was doing something there. I have no idea. But I do want this, I want this grid to be larger. Let's go ahead and do this. All right, I also want to set the position on my own real quick and just make this a little bit lower than the shoe. Okay, perfect. And then I think what I'll do next is I'll probably increase the size of our spheres. Yeah, and let's also just, like I said, let's do like, I don't know, 10 by 10. Yeah, it looks good. So now when we play this, it'll look something like this. But again, the scale is now not large enough, so we can increase that scale and the speed. Well, let's do 60 by 60. It's starting to look really good. This already looks so cool. Hold on. Vector scale. Scale this up a bunch. That is so cool that you can do that. See, that looks kind of interesting to me. I'm just curious, like, what does this look like in rendered view? So interesting. And you can start to imagine, like, playing with materials and things like that, but this is already really interesting to me. So I'm just going to set up a camera real quick, and we're going to kind of start messing around with, like, some composition, some, like, stylization on what we could do with this. Already I'm loving, like, the way that this is looking, right? Now, what's really cool about this, too, is you could have an entire volume filled with these spheres. I'm not going to do that in this case, but you could. I'm just going to give this like a metallic color with a low roughness. Now you can see it's not actually applying to our geometry node spheres. In order to do that, we need to go all the way to the end here. You just do it right before shade smooth. I did not mean to do that, but that's fine. Set that material, and we'll set it to, what did I call that? I'll just call that metallic. Did I spell that right? I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter. All right. Now you can see that it has that material, and then we can adjust the roughness if we need to. We can come back to this later, but already this is looking really, really interesting to me. I'm going to add a plane to our scene as well. Again, you guys can do whatever you want for this. In fact, now that I'm looking at this, I'm actually feeling like instead of spheres, what if we had different sized bolts? Because I think there's a bolt generator that's built into Blender, so we can probably utilize that. This is looking good. Let me set up a camera. Where's my camera at? I already had a camera. Whoopsies. Snap to that camera. All right, I don't love this lighting, so let me go ahead and get a different HDRI, and we can play around with the lighting a little bit. Not in love with that lighting either. We're going to explore a little bit, see what we have. That's kind of a fun one. Ooh, I kind of like this idea of like this top-down view. Wait a minute. Let me go back to this. Where is... Okay, here it is. I kind of really like the idea of like a top-down view. And now that I'm thinking about it, we can have our focal point obviously be the shoe, right? But not only will the focal point be the shoe, but those nuts and bolts, those will actually go ahead and tie our composition together. There we go. There we go. Let's go ahead and snap to our shoe right here. And let's, of course, give it a 1920 by 1080. We're going to make these into bolts, guys, I decided, instead of spheres, okay? And you know what? We're going to rotate like this. Yep, and then we're really going to zoom in on this thing. We're going to give this thing like an 85mm lens, right? And I guess we can do depth of field. I want to go ahead and see what the composition ends up looking like. Right now, if we did depth of field, we could just focus on the shoe, but we may lose some of the detail of like potentially the bolts there. You can kind of see that starting to work for itself there. I want the... Why doesn't it want to let me do this? All right, we'll just do a focus distance. That's fine. Cool. So far, so good. All right, so what we can do now is now that we have like a really cool make the shoe print in snow, we can definitely experiment with that. So now what we can do is we can use our bolt generator, and I would like to create some bolts around this shoe. I'm also wondering if I can just rotate the entire shoe. I guess I could. I want to see what would this side profile look. I mean, the side, everything looks good right now. This shoe looks fantastic. Like, it's just absolutely incredible. Let me see. Each part of the shoe, is it tied to an empty? It's not, but that's okay. Here, I'm going to tie this to an empty real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and add an empty. I'll just add an empty cube. I'll scale it out. I'm just going to move this up. Scale it out like this. And I'm just going to tie everything to this. Just our shoe. So I have my empty right here. I'm gonna call it shoe container. Okay. I'm going to hide this and this. I'm going to highlight all this and then shift click, Control P to parent, object, and then now if I drag this around, I should be able to rotate it. So now I can actually rotate it the way that I want to, which is this way here. And I'll pop back into camera view. And we should be good. Cool. All right, awesome. Now one thing we did lose the shadow. So I'm going to bring that back. I'm going to bring this floor back up to where it was. We kind of were losing that shadow for a second. I don't want to lose that. So now we haven't lost that yet. So we're going to go into solid view in a second here. I just want to see what our composition's starting to look like. This is starting to look really cool. I'm also imagining some more intense lighting here. Can you set the camera position using geometry nodes? I bet you can. I haven't tried it. We will definitely try that. I promise you we will try it. I'm going to add an area light real quick. So I have an area light in here. It's right here. Let's just go ahead and turn this thing up to 500. And I kind of want to angle it. Let's do 90. And then I kind of want it to be like this angle here. And I want it to be a low spread count so that we get this kind of like highlight on the shoe. But I also want it to be kind of lower like this. Let's see. I kind of want it to be coming from, I can have this coming from any direction I want. And that's the cool part. Like if you want, you can kind of do this top down view. I'm kind of imagining an angle, but at the same time, I mean, this already looks so cool. Let me see if we can get, I want to get our plane to be barely touching the shoe, which it is. And then all the bolts will be above that. So yeah, we're going to have to really take a look at our composition here. So let's go ahead and let's format this into like, let's get some bolts. I think once we have our bolts in here, this will look really cool. So let's go into solid view. Now I'm pretty sure this is an add-on. Usually you go to add mesh, and then I believe you go to extras. Where's the bolt generator? Should be a bolt generator. Let me take a look. Edit preferences. And then we'll go to add-ons and we'll type in bolt. Oh, here it is, Bolt Factory. So I didn't have it enabled. So if you're ever searching for it, there it is. You click on Bolt Factory here. And now we'll go to Add Mesh, Extras, and where is it? Where's Bolt Factory? Oh, here it is, Bolt. Okay, so we'll type in Bolt. Just go ahead and give this some customization real quick. It looks like there's no presets, darn. I actually think that's already kind of good. We'll keep that as our first one. Scale it down, move it to a new collection, call it bolts. And then let's go ahead and add another one. Let's do add mesh. We'll just do 2 more. We'll keep it really simple. Now for this next one, we'll do an Allen, and we'll do, actually let's do a nut. Let's do a nut for one of them. Yeah, perfect. Scale it up. We could just do a nut and a bolt. We don't have to do anything more than that, but let me scale this down so it would fit. I think that's pretty accurate. We'll just pretend that's good. We can always scale it down later if we want to. I will go ahead and object apply scale to both of these because I think it's going to mess up in geometry nodes if we don't do that. Although I am tempted to, I'm just going to add one more bolt. I'm going to add one more bolt because I'm worried that we're not going to have enough variety. Let's see. Let's do 12 point. What is this? Oh, we'll add this too. Okay, I was just going to add a bolt, but that's interesting as well. Okay. And we'll go ahead and object apply scale as well. And we are going to have all of these bolts be a part of our collection, which they are not. Let me make sure they're in the collection. Perfect. If they're ever not, you can click on an object, press M, and you can immediately move it to a new collection. So that's just a nice little thing to do. All right, last bolt, we'll do bolt. And in this case, we'll do a bolt. Style, we'll do Torx. And then hex, we'll do cap. Actually, let's do a dome on this one. Let's do none. And then let's do, I don't know, I feel like that looks decent. I feel like I don't know. All right, that looks cool. Okay, cool. I'm cool with that. All right, scale this guy up. Maybe we'll make this guy like smaller than the other one, like something like that. So now we have like a little bit of variety here. Perfect. Object, apply scale, and again, move it to the bolts. And then we'll go ahead and go back to geometry nodes. We'll click on our setup here. And then in this case, we want to have a pick instance. So we'll go ahead and do collection info. We'll go ahead and use our bolts here. Plug it in. We'll do pick instance. And then, let's see, we're going to have to adjust our scale significantly here. Okay. We're also going to adjust several other things as well. We're getting some weird things going on here. Why is there one bolt for every single one of these? There shouldn't be. Let me think here why this would be doing this. Instance index, no. Local space, no. It's almost like it's, oh, you know why it might be doing that? Hold on, let me check. No, that shouldn't be affecting anything. Just make sure of something here. It's almost like it's instancing every single thing on top of itself. Why would it be doing that? Think. Grid, set position, mesh to points, instance on points, collection info. We're using those as instances. I already applied the scale to those. Scale these down a little bit more so I can really see what's going on here. Even if we adjust the rotation, that will look better, but it's still instancing every single one of these. Why? Can you set the, oh yeah, you were asking me if you can set the camera position. I'm pretty sure, almost positive that you can. me just check something real quick. I believe the cyber sale is about to start, but I need to check. Geometry nodes. Pick instance from collection. Instancing from collections. Collection info. Oh, separate components into instances. Huh. I don't think I've ever seen that node. Let's check. Let's try this. Let's do the separate components real quick. Separate components. Did that work? No, it didn't. But hold on, now I want to try something. I also want to make sure I have all my settings the exact same way. They're using relative and separate children. Why is that not working? Oh, it is working. Oh. No, it's not working. That is so weird. Why would it not work? Let me just make sure of something. There we go. Sometimes when you have a collection within a collection, it gets a little bit tricky. Let's go back. They were using what for that? They were using a random value for the instance index. Pick instance, they did 1. Interesting. Not sure why they did that. We'll try that. I don't know why setting this to 1, whatever. We'll do a random value. And what did they choose for their random value? Something crazy. Okay. If this works, I'm going to be kind of like surprised. Did that actually just work? I think that maybe it did. All right, I think we can still make this look good, even though it's a little bit tricky here, but I think we can still make it work. All right, so let's first of all lower these back down a little bit. Okay. And then let's give them some random rotation. Let's do rotate instances. And then for the rotation, I think I'll just do like something random for each one. I'll do combine XYZ. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do a random value for each one of these. I'll do anything from this to 360 for each one. Okay. Perfect. So now we have this like completely random, like scattered thing of bolts. I just want to see, I'm just curious what this looks like. All right, not exactly what I was expecting, but that's okay. We can increase the density and things like that. But it is kind of starting to look pretty interesting. I also just kind of want to see something here. I am curious, like if we start to play around with like the colors now. This is kind of interesting. I'm almost now imagining like this dotted background, right? And then like to make the shoe come forward more, we can have even more bolts, but maybe underneath. Let's go here, geometry nodes. Where is our, let's see. Okay, so our grid, let's try 150 and 150. Whew, that's a lot. That is a lot going on right there. I might have to lower that. Whoa. Where's our shoe? Kind of like losing our shoe in the sauce here. But it's like, this is kind of like interesting to me. Also, why my shoe container should really be the focal point here. Why am I losing my focus point here? All right, we'll go back to solid view. We're going to talk about the cyber sale in just 1 second, guys. Just really want to get this to the point where I'm like happy with it. You know what I mean? Perfect. Okay, I just want to see what this looks like real quick. Starting to look kind of interesting. Not like in love with it, but it is cool. I also want to go back to our background plane. Interesting. We're starting to get somewhere interesting with it. You didn't perchance create these bolts in edit mode so they are joined? Oh, did I? No, I didn't, because they're separate objects right here. But that is a good thought, because I don't know why that was happening earlier, but either way, I'm like more or less like pretty happy with like where they ended up. I do want to actually go back to our plane and adjust this roughness level of our bolts. That's 0 roughness. Maybe we'll turn them up a little bit. Give them a little bit more brightness. Maybe they're brand new. This is starting to look pretty interesting. I think the bolts need to be bigger. Let's go back to geometry nodes. Let's go over here to our random value for our scale instances. Let's do 0.5. Oops. 0.3. That's a little better. Perfect. And then also shading smooth. Maybe we don't shade smooth. Or we shade smooth on the edges. Ah. I knew something looked funky with the bolts. Whoa, this is wild looking. Not entirely in love with it, but I think it is cool that we're able to actually get in here and do all this stuff. Just because like geometry nodes is so powerful. I think this is so cool. I just want to see what the angle looks like here. Look at all these like things that we've created. Absolutely berserk. That's wild. Maybe it's the lighting that I'm not in love with. Or it could be the background. Let me see the background playing again. Again, it's like there's so many things you can like play around with. I did not mean to do that. Crap. Although that's kind of interesting, but it's really about like what your preference is and like what catches your eye. I'm gonna turn that roughness up. Let me turn the area light off and let's see what it looks like. That's also kind of interesting. You know what I'm almost imagining now is like maybe what we do is we get like a side angle of this thing. The bolts are underneath of it, and that's the way that we set up the composition. Let me just try that. I know that probably made no sense, but let me show you what I mean. Bring this up, okay? Take these and then give them like some crazy looking thing over here with the scale. Right? Kind of bring these down a little bit. There we go. I was kind of imagining something like this. Let's bring these down a little bit. And then we have an angle like this, right? Where it's like you can just see the shoe maybe like from this angle. I don't know. It's just like something I was just imagining. Where it's like this thing is like inside of all these bolts. I don't know. I thought it would look cool. Let's see if we can make it look interesting. Is this even the right material? It isn't the right material. Okay. I was gonna say I thought for a minute there, just for a minute, that we might have had the wrong material. All right, let's talk about the cyber deal real quick. It should be live very soon here. Let's take a look. All right. So, first of all, guys, happy Cyber Friday Happy Cyber Friday / Cyber Week, I guess. So, here's our current deal that we have going on. Here we go. So, we are offering, just go ahead and relay this to you guys. We are currently offering the following: 30% off of your annual membership to CG Cookie, okay? And then 25% off of anything site-wide at Superhive. So that includes Retopaflow, which is a new product that's available, and as well as any Superhive Cyber bundle. So yeah, I would agree, that is pretty epic. So really you're looking at a huge percentage discount right now. So if you do want to take advantage of that, I highly suggest it. Superhive, let's go over to Superhive. Let's go ahead and pull this up. So yeah, if you go over to Superhive right now, as you guys can see, there's a 25% site-wide savings. Let me go ahead and drop that in the chat as well so you guys can take advantage of that. All right. And then the same thing applies to CG Cookie. So go ahead over to CG Cookie. Go ahead and pop that below for you guys. And I wanted to shout this out because, again, if you want to take huge advantage of this, you absolutely, absolutely should. There's some incredible add-ons. So if I click right here, right where it says take me to the cyber savings, we'll go over here. We have an incredible bundle. I kind of want to just go over this real quick because I'm pretty sure my product is in this bundle. So you get 33 products for $99. So just take a step back real quick. 33 products for $99. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Let's take a look at what is inside of this bundle. It's just absolutely packed with different things. So here's the products that are available to you. Auto Rig Pro, cannot go wrong. Mesh Machine 0.20, which is an incredible add-on. Normal Magic, haven't used this one, but it looks interesting. I'd be curious to try it. Surface Flow, this is when you want to like attach an object to a surface and it'll like flow along that surface. Kind of like the skin, or not skin modifier, what is it? I forget what it's called, but it's kind of like where it would like almost like a decal machine, right? Similar to that. True Vault, which I'm pretty sure is just a bunch of digital assets that are photo scanned. Lens Simulator, I think you can, pretty sure you can use this to simulate photography lenses. UV Flow, probably a UV unwrapper if I had to guess. Camera Tracker, ooh, this is by CG Matter, fantastic creator as well. Auto Eye, I've had my, well, no pun intended, I've had my eye on this one for quite some time, so definitely check that one out. Simply Tear, this looks like some kind of procedural tearing physics simulation. Bend Smarter, this probably has to do with, again, arching your objects, kind of making them follow a certain path. We have Zen Cage, this one's pretty interesting as well. Let's scroll through some of these. Oh, I actually have personally tried this one. Strands, fantastic geometry nodes generator for rope and any type of like fiber. And then if we keep scrolling down, oh my gosh, it's the Blueprint shader. So this is my shader right here by Kenny Phases, right? But you're getting a huge discount on this, so highly suggest you check this out, right? It's discounted right now individually as well, but the fact that it's included in this bundle and most of these bundle sets, right, like these actual individual products that are bundled together are significantly more. So definitely check these out, guys. Absolutely fantastic bundle to take advantage of here. Again, the Super Hive Cyber Bundle. Cyber deal is live. Let me just go ahead and screenshot this because I'm going to put it up on our stream real quick. I just want to make sure you guys are taking advantage of this because I don't want you to miss out on this opportunity. Here we go. Super Hive. Let's go ahead and save that. I'll just save it to my desktop. That's fine. Oh, that's from when we hold on. That is from when we modeled that headphone. That was awesome, and that was a really good time. All right, here we go. All right, we're gonna come back to this, but I just want to make sure I throw this up here for you guys. Yeah, we'll just use this. Go ahead and swap this out. Perfect. Okay. Perfect. I'm just gonna have this sitting right here. Sorry about that, guys. All right, I'm going to have this sitting right here so you guys can kind of see it. So again, cyber deal, cyber deal, cyber deal, guys. Take advantage of it, please. There we go. Right there is perfect. I know, this looks like an advertisement, but I really wanted you guys to be able to take advantage of this, so I'll put it right there. All right, perfect. So we're going to go ahead and head back to this now. So what we're going to go over is now how to set up like a really, really nice, probably a nice composition for this. Make sure everything... Oh, wow. Oh, the stream looks like it's behind, but it's actually not. Okay, that's fine. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we're looking at here. I was kind of imagining something like this, perhaps, but I also don't mind like the back end of the shoe. Like this looks pretty interesting as well. Where's our area laid at? Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, like something from like this angle might look really interesting. Or even potentially we swap this out with maybe one that's not so perfect. Oops, don't like that one. Let's try this guy right here. Yeah, see, like now you get into stuff like this, right? Where like now the lighting is going to be even crazier, except for we have no backdrop, so we need to probably create a backdrop. Okay, we'll go here. We'll just create this backdrop by going like this. Okay, we'll take our camera. We'll go ahead and undo that. Okay, we'll rotate this upwards. And then I'm just going to have our camera facing our design here. Just like that. Perfect. Drop that down a little bit. Perfect. And then what I want to do is frame my shot out. Whoa, this looks a lot cooler. This looks a lot cooler than I had actually even imagined it. This is really, really cool. Hold on. Let me just make my face a little bit smaller for you guys. There you go. This composition looks really interesting. See, now we're getting somewhere with this. And then we can go into our area light, right? And we can say, you know what? I really want this to have like a blue feel. And you can give it that blue feel. Or if that's too much, you can just mess around with the spread. This is a wider spread. I actually don't really like that. I kind of like the sharpness of like a thin spread light. You still get some detail, but again, like me personally, like I think this is really cool looking. Then you can go into your exposure down here, your color management, raise up that exposure a little bit, right? You don't have to do that. I kind of like that there's some hidden like details in this. And now you're starting to work with something that looks really interesting. Although I do wish the camera was a little bit more focused on our subject, so let's go ahead and draw that in. Go ahead and adjust our focus distance here. Perfect. And look, you kind of get to see a few of these nuts and bolts flying around here. And we're just getting something like to me, visually interesting. Just go ahead and angle this up just a little bit. Nice 90-degree angle here. Perfect. Okay, that's looking really, really good. Oops, getting a FaceTime. Hold on 1 second, guys. Hold on 1 second. I apologize for my inconvenience here. Hey, I can't talk right now. I'm sorry, I'm live streaming, but if you text Liz, you can talk to her. I should be done in about an hour. Sorry about that, guys. All right, perfect. Okay, so again, we're coming back to the composition. I like to turn off this setting right here where it says show overlays. But I really think this is starting to look like something interesting. I kind of like how grainy it is, too. How long does the sale last? I believe, let me tell you, hold on. Let me make sure I get you the exact correct info. Actually, if you look actually it's in the description right here, I'll tell you. So the sale lasts until December 3rd. Yep, start and end. Perfect. Here, let me comment that. Perfect. Let's see if that works. Boom. There is the exact info that you guys are looking for. So that's when the sale starts and ends. So thank you for your patience while I dug up that answer for you. So what's really cool about this is like now this is all animated, right? My opinion, this looks fantastic, right? And now you can start to experiment with more lighting and things like that. I actually kind of want to duplicate this entire shoe. So let me see if I can do that. Let me see if I can select the entire hierarchy. I can. Now, does this... Ah, yes, okay. So I could be like that. I just want to see something. I'm getting creative here. Or this is going to look horrible. Let's just see. That looks kind of interesting. I almost want it to be up a little bit further. But like, see how you can start to kind of like experiment here? Like now we're creating something that I'm like, I don't know, that looks pretty good. Like the light, it's really, guys, it really all comes down to the lighting. It really, really does. And then for like the materials, so I will say like this material could probably use some modification, right? What is it? Low roughness. I mean, the other thing is like this is really not anything too crazy. I'm just curious what this would look like if it had 0 metallic. Also looks kind of interesting. Again, this would probably look interesting even with spheres, right? In fact, I'm actually imagining, now that I'm looking at this again, I'm imagining this like translucent material. Let's just go for it. Let's just try it out. Almost this like translucent material. Oopsies. No, don't crash on me now. No, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. There we go. Material preview. Anybody ever notice material preview is the absolute slowest, god-awful thing in the world? Like, why is it that it's supposed to not be? Like, it's supposed to be really quick. I think that's the whole point of it. You're previewing a material. But you know what? It's not. It's very slow. So that's my complaint for the day. All right, so let me try this because now I'm like translucent. Hold on, translucent. There we go. Let's do a translucent. And let's do a little mixed shader action here. I'm just going to do a metallic. See, even that looks cool. Even without our materials plugged in. Let's do a metallic mixed with a translucent. Oh. See, that looks so cool. And then you could go in here, you could do a color ramp, all that good stuff. And then you could do a layer weight. And you could do, for now, you could do this. Let me really zoom in on this material so I can see what's going on here, because I want to make sure this is exactly the way that I want it to be. We'll try facing. That's kind of, nah, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. Nope, not exactly what I'm looking for. Not quite. Maybe we don't need this at all. Just need it to be shiny, okay, with a maybe like 0.3 roughness, and then is this the transparent one? Oh, that's the translucency, and this is the metallic. You know what? Instead of translucent, let's do transparent. Yeah, let's do that. There we go. Let's bump this roughness up to 0.5. That's what I was looking for. That's it. That's it. I like it. Base color needs to be white, though. How cool is that? Now, another thing we could do. So this is where we start to play around with, like, save it before it crashes. I know. So another really cool thing like that we can do here, although I still think these bolts could probably be a little bit bigger, so hold on. It's really tough to, like, judge, like, how to scale things. That looks good. Let's try that. See, now we need to bring... So now what we need to do is go back again, and we need to adjust, like, this, right? So we don't want there to be too much going on. That's cool. You know what? I actually liked what we had even before that. Is that it? Ah, crap. I went back too far, guys. That's it. Okay, perfect. Oh, it's close. It's close enough. All right, so let's just say this was perfect. What I was going to say is our background plane here, this is where now you can start to like mess around with like colors, right? Like if you wanted, like earlier, there was this color that kind of came through. It was like this very faint like tan color, but I kind of vibed with it, right? And then now what you can also do, let's get rid of the saturation. What you can also do is go over to your shading tab. Instead of object, you can click on world, right? And then right here we have our Studio EXR. You can't see it, but we can actually create... Where the heck is my stinking... Bro, where's my properties panel? There we go. You can go here to film, turn your background back on, and then we can actually give this a like hue and saturation, right? Like I can go here, I can be like mix shader, right? I'm pretty sure you can do this. And I can mix this with like, I don't know, like a diffuse. Not a diffuse, I'm sorry. Hue and saturation. There we go. What I meant to say is you can do this. Yeah, hue and saturation. I believe you can change the hue. So theoretically, I could go in here. I could choose this blue sky. Then I could change the hue of the entire scene. Except for this is really not what I was looking for at all. That's interesting. I love that you can like. I just love that you can do this. Like. You can create like completely custom setting. Wow. I don't even remember where we were before. I love messing with this stuff because like to me lighting is so important and it's completely underutilized. This is what we had originally. Anyway, you can adjust the hue and saturation value of that background. So we're going to go back out here. We're going to undo all that. And yeah, you kind of have something that looks like this and it looks really, really interesting. And just like the detail on the shoes too is just so cool. So we have this kind of side view. Now I'm like, well, we could create more views, right? Like I could create a view from up here, right? Like especially like when you look at this tread. I think someone had some questions earlier. I do want to answer those questions. Let me just see how long we've been streaming for. We've been streaming for about an hour. Okay, about half hour left. There was a question about a footprint. There was also a question about, can you control the camera position using geometry nodes? So we're going to go over those two things, but let me give this a quick render real quick. Let's make sure everything's turned off that we don't need. For the samples, let's do 50. I kind of want some noise in this. Like, I don't know. I also want to see if we do render this, is everything going to work here? Everything. Wow. For once, we actually had everything correct. Like sometimes there's a hidden object that you forget to disable or this or that, but we actually had this correct this time. Crap, that was quick. All right, that was too quick. And honestly, I don't really like the level of quality here. So let's bump this up to 150. Let's turn off our denoising because I want a little bit of noise in this render. Right, a little bit of noise would be nice. I don't know about you guys. I like a little bit of like high quality noise. I think it makes or breaks the render. I don't know. There's just something about having that noise in there. Now this is still a little bit too noisy, but there is like something special about having that noise in there that I think is hard to like replicate. Save it before it crashes, always. So we're gonna do the camera position controlled by geometry nodes next, which I'm pretty sure is possible. And this came out pretty good. I'm like relatively happy with this one. So let's try it. I'm gonna do a we'll do the shoe print next. I promise. You know what? We'll do it in here. We'll do everything in here. That's fine. All right. So let me add a camera, just a test camera. There it is right there. All right. Let's go to geometry nodes. I'm almost positive you can't create a geometry nodes on this camera, but if I add like a cube and I bring this up here, this is our cube. Let's just create a new geometry nodes, and let me see if I can drag my camera into here. So I can drag my camera into geometry nodes. Now the location, let me just see if I can do a transform geometry. I don't know if it is possible. Hold on, let me think about how I would do this. How would I move another object? So here's what I would do. Here's what I would do. I would click on the camera. I would go to constraints, and I would literally just say copy the location of our cube. And then I would go to our cube, and I would say set position. And then you should be able to just move the cube. And then I think you have to, wow, I cannot believe that's not going to work. That's crazy. That's crazy that doesn't work. What? Let me try transform geometry. I'm actually appalled that won't work. That's wild. Let me double check that. Target world space. Oh, let's do. Does the offset count? No. Oh, hold on. Now let me try this. That's wild that it won't work. I really thought that was gonna work. Nope. Wow. Oh, wait, now it works. Now it works. Wait a second. You know what it is? It's almost like, what? Wait, that is so strange it's not working. Attach the camera object to a single vertex, then make a geonode system on that vertex and apply your transition there. Yeah, that should work, right? Attach the camera object to a single vertex. Oh, like parent it? So I guess you could, here, let me see what happens if I just parent this. I mean, it should. That is whack. And there's no, it's not an instance, so it can't be like, what? That is wild. I've never seen that issue come up. Let me just see something. That is so weird. I do think it's possible though. We'll go back to all right, so we're gonna go back to snow. Here we go. All right, file, open recent. All right, we'll come back to that. I'll look into why that might not have been working. Either way, though, I do want to go ahead and grab this shoe here. See if I can copy that. Paste that in. Rotate. All right, so I'm just going to show you how to make an imprint in general. I don't know what that is for. Oh, crap, I missed some parts of the shoe. Hold on. Oh, my God. Go back to shoe. Select hierarchy, copy. All right, there we go. Okay. There we go. All right, so I have our shoe, right? I'm going to kind of place it really, really close to the ground here. So we're going to be using dynamic paint for this, so I'm just going to add a plane, if I can. There we go. I'm going to add a plane. Is there a camera nose? Oh, node? No. So I'm going to go ahead and tab and edit mode, subdivide this a bunch of times. Usually, the more you subdivide it, the higher quality like your simulation will be. We'll go back over to the physics tab. We're going to add a dynamic paint modifier. I'll click on add canvas, and then I need our brush to be the bottom part of this. So hold on. I need all of this to be like one shape. So let me just delete that. I'm going to just literally Control J. Hold on. Really doesn't want me to. There we go. Control J. All right, so now it's all, well, join. There we go. All right, doesn't matter. We only need this part anyway. All right, so I'm going to click on this, or I'm going to do Control parent. So now when this moves, all right, perfect. All right, so I parented everything, but now really we needed all this to be like one part. So I'm going to do snow, step. Now the material will be hard, but for the dynamic paint, this should be pretty easy. I'm going to click on dynamic paint for our shoe. I'm going to click on brush, add brush. And then instead of waves, we're going to choose canvas, and then we'll do, where is it? Surface type. Instead of paint, we'll just do displace. So now I'm going to keyframe this. I'm going to insert a keyframe, go to frame 10. I'm going to go down with this a little bit. I'm going to go I to insert a keyframe, 20, back up, I. So now when we press play, this is going to imprint onto our canvas, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. And remember, like usually like the smaller this is, the better, because when you imprint, right, you got your imprint right there. You want this to be smooth, right? So we're going to add a subdivision surface modifier to this. So now when we play this back, and I'll just do 40 frames real quick. When we play this back, you see that we have this nice smooth surface here. So look, shoe presses down. It displaces the geometry below, and that is your footprint. And it really is that easy. It's like not too difficult to do something like that. The interesting part comes when like you might want to add a smooth modifier, right? With a few different iterations on that. I really want to smooth this thing out. Let's do 0.6. Yep. So now what we have, if we can click here and we can go and actually bake this. We can go to the cache and we can bake it. All right. We're baking all this out. Perfect. All right. Press escape. Now when we press play, should be a little bit quicker. Boom. Now we have that. Now if you want that to come back, like sort of like dissolve or like bounce back to its original position like memory foam, I would delete the bake, and then you can go to where is it? Not displace factor. Is it dissolve? Yeah, dissolve. And we'll just do dissolve over 10 frames. So now it should dissolve. Let's see. There's the imprint, and then see how it dissolved over 10 frames? Let's do 30 frames so it's a little bit slower. So now it'll take 30 frames for it to bounce back. Look at that. A little imprint, and then it disappears. Now, it's a little bit slow, and the reason for that is because it's just like a lot of geometry, right? So yeah, so there's your foot press into like memory foam or whatever you want it to be, and then the time that it takes to bounce back is up to you. Let's try 60. That might be a little bit more realistic so we can at least see that footprint. So that's kind of how you would do something like that. Especially if you're doing like a memory foam commercial, right? And you want it to be very smooth. Like, this is a really interesting way to do this. So you kind of get this result. Why is it so slow? I only have one instance of Blender open. I'm not sure why it's going so slow. Probably because it's just the way it works. So yeah, you can kind of see underneath. And this is just a plane, right? A subdivided plane. Not too different than anything else. But what's cool about this is you can completely customize this now, right? You can go and you can have multiple displacements. You can have multiple objects affecting this. And then depending on your footprint, yeah, I mean, like, if you want more detail, subdivide it again, right? So now when I press play, this thing's going to be really, really slow. But the detail level will be very high. So let's watch. Let's just watch this thing play out. It's going to be very, 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 very slow. But look at that detail level, right? You guys see the detail level here? And that's with smoothing turned on. If you wanted to, you could preview it without. This is without smoothing. I prefer it with smoothing, obviously, for obvious reasons. But that smoothing factor will make everything appear better. So like your footprint or your handprint or whatever print you want to project onto another object or another surface, it can be easily achieved using dynamic paint. And this is the kind of stuff that I teach you guys about in the core fundamentals of physics, right? And don't forget, we are having our cyber-wide sale. So quick shout out to the 25% off site-wide sale on Superhive, as well as the amazing deal that's going on CG Cookie. So definitely check that out, guys. I want you to take full advantage of that. Again, cgcookie.com. All right, let me go ahead and drop it in the chat below. Here we go. Definitely take advantage of that, especially if you want to learn about physics, because I teach all about this stuff in the core fundamentals of physics, and you learn this and so much more. There's so many cool things you're going to learn. And honestly, I think physics is one of the underappreciated parts of Blender. So if you manage to get a hold on that course, you're going to learn so much. You're definitely going to want a cup of coffee for that one, because you're going to be locked in on that course. You're going to be locked in, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. This looks great. So yeah, that's how you do like a footprint. I want to kind of head back over and kind of wrap this stream up here. So I do have a few things going on today. So I want to wrap this stream up, but this is the total like render that we were able to come up with here. I think this is awesome. And this is animated, but we're not going to render it out right now. But I actually think this looks really good. And I just want to thank Kent for making just such an incredible 3D model of a shoe. I'm so glad I got to do something with it. This is the perfect way to utilize it, just for something fun. There's so much more that we can do. Like, next time we could kind of have some physics interact with the shoe. I kind of showcase how we might do something like that. But I'm so glad you guys tuned into our live stream today. How long have we been streaming? Yeah. We're probably going to start wrapping things up right now because I do have a few things to do. But I just wanted to say thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. If you have any last minute questions, drop them down in the comments below. But we're going to kind of start to wrap up the end of this live stream here. And again, like I said, Superhive, guys, check it out, because there is indeed an amazing sale going on right now. Again, we have our 25% site-wide savings available for you guys. Definitely worth checking out. Also, I love the branding they did behind this. It looks really cool. Cyber. This is super awesome. And don't forget, there's a few mystery bundles available each day, and I can guarantee you there's some amazing things tucked away in those bundles. But this bundle right here, this $99 bundle, I can't speak highly enough about it. And yes, I will brag. My product is in here, so of course I'm going to vouch for this bundle. But there's also some other amazing products as well, like Droplet Generator, Clay Dough. I don't have anything bad to say about this add-on. It's absolutely incredible. It allows you to create amazing clay animations and materials. Let's take a look at some cool examples here. This guy's an amazing creator, Double Gum. Hopefully you guys have heard of him. Wow, just like, it's just amazing. I mean, it's just, when you look at some of this stuff, you realize what Blender is truly capable of. And he is a great representation of the creativity that is accessible to all of us with Blender. So again, Pro Lighting Studio. This bundle is by far one of the coolest bundles I have probably ever seen. This is a cool one too. I love the brand. I always appreciate like good branding, and this one is really cool. Look at this graphic design this guy put together. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Good job, Daniel. Daniel's creator of that one. Ooh, align toolkit. I don't think I've seen this one. See, like I probably would use this one myself. Looks like there's a newish camera data node. Really? Let's check it out real quick, and then we'll hop off the live. Camera data, huh? Oh, look at this. Huh. That is cool. See, that is... I will tell you how useful that is because I am sick of typing in values. That's a cool one. That is a really cool one. I wonder how you program that. That was really interesting. I'll take a look at the Zen cage real quick. Zen cage. How does this one work? Oh, kind of similar. Like it lets you align. Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. That is awesome. So you're getting some fantastic deals here. All right, let's. What was it? The camera data. You said it's the camera data node. Let's check it out real quick. Save this guy here. Let's add a camera. Let's go to geometry nodes. Add a cube. Oh wait, camera info. Oh, there's camera info. Wait, I saw something else. Active camera. Huh. Let me just see some. Let me just look it up real quick. Geometry nodes control camera? Control the camera with geometry nodes. Object info. That's camera. But can you just modify like where the camera is? I'm assuming that's what you're asking. Like, can you mod? Bro, what? Yes. How do you do this? This is what I want to know. Bro, what? This is crazy. All this? You'd think it'd be easier than that. You can do this as explained here, even though it's not explained here, or is it explained here? Set position, that's it. I'm assuming that the camera is... That is so weird. Why would you do that when you can just adjust the position in the actual integrated node right there? Why do you have to plug in extra? You don't know how to use it? Yeah, I don't know how to use it. Regarding physics, what would you recommend... I'm sorry. What would you recommend an enthusiast study outside of Blender to get a wider grasp of physics that could help with Blender physics workflows? Oh, wow. I don't know. I think I took physics in college, but in terms of like actually studying the aspect of physics, I don't know if I could help too much there. Not like a physics major or anything like that. I just know physics well in Blender. My goal for you guys would just be to experiment more and try your best to like check out all the different nodes that are available, the different tutorials, and obviously I'm going to vouch for our course that we offer, which is the CG Cookie Fundamentals of Physics, which is what I do, but also the core fundamentals of Blender, which is going to be your best starting point. In terms of getting a wider grasp of physics that can help with Blender workflows, is experimentation. It really is just like continue to experiment as much as you possibly can. Like right now, this is one of those things where I'm like, we got to figure out how to do this. I wonder what is this like what? But yeah, that's I know. I've never seen. Oh, he says bye. I'll take care. Um there is a clear oh whoa. What? Yeah, what? Just want to see how to I just want to control the darn camera. So you have a plane and then you parenting the camera to that plane. I'm assuming that this guy's gonna make a plane. He's gonna parent the camera to the plane. Let's go ahead and see if that's the case here. Oh wait, what? Oh, this is his thing that he developed. Bro, what in the this is wild. Let's see if we can figure it out on our own though. Hold on. I do think that it involves like just parenting the camera to something. Like I don't see why. See, like when I move the cube around, it works. Set position, right? And then, oh, you know what? That's because I was setting the. I feel so dumb. Hold on. I bet you it works now. Hold on. Bro, what? Where did my... What? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, what just happened? Where did my... Hold on. What? Anybody else seeing this? Like, what? Hold on. Where did... That's great, brother. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. Where did my cube go, guys? Where did my cube go? Hold on. Vector... What do I want? Rotate vector, maybe? Just want to see something. Hold on. Separate XYZ. Combine XYZ. And then position. But then if I take this and I do math here, can I then... Okay, I can change the position. I'm not sure why that was so complicated, but it still is not working. It's still not working. It's not allowing us to move the the camera. Wait a second. Parent object. I don't know. It should be simple. I do see why you asked. And now I'm kind of frustrated that we can't figure it out. But let me just think for a moment, because I mean, obviously without geometry nodes it's easy. You can just use a constraint, but like you want to be able to control the camera with geometry nodes, right? So like how in the heck do we do that? Let me just clear the parent here. So what's interesting is you can take the camera, or really any node, and you can get the location of it here, but then like actually controlling it is a whole nother thing. Can I adjust it here? No, I cannot. So weird. Oh wait, here, relative. Wait, hold on. As an instance? Oh wait. I said, so hold on. I can instance the camera. Can I realize the instances at the end and make it a real camera? Of course I can't. Because why would I be able to do that? Because then that would just be too easy. So here's the camera. We're clearly adjusting the offset right here, but it's not actually the camera. Because if I look through the camera now, it's not the same camera. What? Does anyone know how to do this? I've never even thought about adjusting the camera, but here we are trying to adjust the camera. We just really brainstorm about this real quick. You actually take, this is just the information of the object. That's what's annoying about it, is like you're just, I mean, it's literally the info about the camera, but it's not the camera itself. How would I do this? Let me think. I thought we tried this earlier with a with like parenting. That didn't work. We tried a constraint. That didn't work. Oh, select avert and then parent in edit mode. Is that possible? Where's my cube at? My cube disappeared. Oh, right, because I did that. Bro, there it is. You said go into edit mode and then parent. I don't think I can do that. Yeah, I think one thing you can do, I bet you can use a driver. Excuse me, you can use a driver for the location. Hold on, let me think of this. Add camera. Of course, there's only one camera. Hold on. Camera info. Shift the position. I want this camera. Hold on. Let's look the camera info node geometry nodes. You're not in 5.0, Kenny? Oh my god, bro, I'm not in 5.0. You're right, I'm not in 5.0. That's my fault. That's my fault. That's my fault. That's my fault. Bro, yo, you're joking. Where's... Here it is. Oh my god, I feel like a little bit of a moron right now. Hell, maybe just set the attributes directly within geometry nodes. Drivers would definitely work. Okay, camera. Okay, so I still can't create a new one on the camera, but that's okay. Let's try this now. Camera info. Ooh. We'll select this camera. Camera in, bro. Look what I typed in and when I wasn't looking. That makes no sense. Okay, here we go. Active camera node. All right, so I might have to go, guys. I apologize. Yeah, I'm going to have to go in a second here. I really can't think of, like... Oh, wait. Wait. Replace original. I didn't even know you could do that. I got no clue, guys. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to wrap this thing up. Last thing I'll say, guys, again, just quick shout out. There is indeed a cyber deal, and it is live on SuperHive as well as CG Cookie's website, so I'll shout it out one last time for you guys. Again, cgcookie.com. We have our core fundamentals of physics. Also, there's a nice little article on me here if you want to check that out. But the best way to save right now is on SuperHive. Also, all this stuff's on sale right now, 25% off. So if you want my physics course, it's right here, and it's 25% off, as well as every single thing pretty much on SuperHive right now. If we go to the homepage, we can actually check out, if it wants to bring me to the homepage, hold on. There's probably a lot of people on this right now. On the homepage, there is a cyber sale. Take advantage of this, guys. Please, please, please. Can I come on Discord and figure out my fireworks? Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, I can try to figure out your fireworks. Absolutely. And thank you for taking the course, by the way. I really appreciate it. So if we click on this, cyber sale, take me to the cyber savings. This is the biggest bundle of the year. Again, you're going to want to get that biggest bundle, which is $99. Might sound like a lot, but for what you're getting, it's absolutely worth the value. And besides, you get my awesome blueprint shader, which has over 300 downloads, and it is, yes, rated twice 5 stars, which I'll take it. So definitely check that out, guys. Got to shout that out. And like I said, have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your week and your cyber deals that you hopefully guys will figure out over the weekend. And hopefully you guys can get some cool stuff for some cheap deals here. And yeah, this was fun. We'll definitely do this again soon, guys. I'm sorry today couldn't be a longer live stream, but I do have some stuff going on. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, drop them down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to CG Cookie. And yeah, check out our website, because I think a lot of people don't realize how valuable our content really is. And we have some incredible, incredible instructors to take advantage of here. And we're a community as well, so we're going to respond to you. We're not going to ignore you. We're going to respond to your comments, your questions, and anything that you need help with. We're there for you. We're in your corner. We are your teachers, your educators. We're here to help you guys. So just remember that.